Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Cynthia Cowie. I'm the communications director and a board member for California Women's Leadership Association. CWLA is a nonprofit organization, and we are focused on empowering center right women in the political and the government space to run for office and to be effective community servant leaders. And so I have here today Nimpa Akana. She is a candidate running for the San Diego County Republican Party Central Committee in Supervisorial District 1. So welcome, Nimpa.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. So to dive right in, I know there's a lot of people that might not know what the Central Committee does for their local Republican Party. Do you want to share a little bit about your decision, why you decided to step up and run, what exactly motivated you, and what you hope to accomplish for the San Diego County Republican Party?
Well, my background's in computer science, but I left the industry when my son was young because my husband was always on a 6-month deployment. And so when I left the computer industry, I was able to focus more on what was happening at my son's schools, locally, and in the community. And when I did that, I realized what was happening behind the scenes. I really enjoyed being in leadership positions, such as it all started off with the school site council. When the leaders in my council, we didn't have the funding to keep the library open, but we had funding to help underprivileged children, and it coincided. If we left the library open for children who needed after school programs, then we would also leave the library open for everyone, all the students who needed that library. So it began then when I knew that the leaders who are creative and really just passionate about helping people could find solutions. And so it became to get more and more involved with the community, with nonprofits. And I realized that if my community wanted things like not having a usage tax or mileage tax that Sandag was proposing, then we needed to elect leaders that had the same values. And what motivates me is I represent the third largest demographic in San Diego, which are Filipinos. A lot of them are staunch Filipinos because they came from military background, but they don't understand, or they don't know, and they don't realize that voting for the right candidates will help them pursue what they feel are really important. Things like stronger military, supporting the police, finding those viable solutions to help the homeless. So that's what motivates me. I want to be the voice of the people I represent. And especially in candidate recruitment, I'm involved in a lot of organizations here. I want to be in candidate recruitment so I could help endorse and recruit the candidates that embrace our principles. And that's important to me. And right now, what's really important to me is parental rights. I want to make sure our school board have board members that respect parents. And I'm currently helping someone else on the school board, and that's really important to me.
Perfect. Now, it seems like you've already been pretty active in the political and government space, which I really appreciate about you. We definitely need more women of Asian descent, but also females just stepping up and being the change they want to see in their community and standing up for parental rights and supporting families in our county. So that being said, it sounded like you've been pretty active. So was it a difficult decision or a conversation to have with your family being more involved with the central committee, or were they pretty supportive? I'd love to get, your insight in regards to that.
A lot of people don't even know that a central committee exists. And I have to explain to them that these people are very important for our party to help support the candidates that we want to help our community locally and internationally or throughout the country. So with my son and my husband, I I made that decision on my own, but the way I informed is I created a graphic, a 5x7, a 4x6 postcard, and I texted to them, and they are both happy. They know that I'm very passionate about helping people, so they're both very supportive. My son doesn't live with me; he's finishing up his PhD at Stanford, and my husband's still flying all over the world. So they're happy, and they know I keep busy.
That's great. So, as you mentioned, your son, doesn't live in the county and he's pursuing a great educational goal. So, I recognize he might not be participating in like the day-to-day operations for your campaign, but before you wanted to step up to run for central committee, were there other, political pursuits where your son was involved in any way? Because, one thing that inhibits women from stepping up to the plate to serve in public office or helping with their local county party is, children. And so definitely wanted to see, your experience in regards to that.
Well, for my son, I only have one son. I hoped I raised him with a strong foundation. He is at a university that is open to different ideas, but with that strong foundation, still think it's really important for me to communicate what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is going to help him and his children one day. I think the only and it's really interesting because I take care of my mom. She doesn't live with me. She's homebound. But when I go there and bring her food or do her laundry, we always talk about politics. And she knows a lot about that. I don't want her to be influenced by what she sees on TV. So we talk about it, and she loves politics. She's one of those people that screams at the TV when she knows that we're not helping the homeless or we're not helping veterans. And she feels strongly about that. And she knows what I'm doing. So 85, she knows how to use a cell phone, but she's called all her friends to vote for me.
That's so sweet. I know for the San Diego Republican Central Committee, your name is going to be on the ballot, which everyone is receiving at this time, and the March primary is March 5th, so the campaign's going to be over pretty quickly. But that being said, was there like any difficult aspects you had to overcome while doing the sprint of a campaign and managing family obligations?
Well, just the obligation of helping my mom. But I think the biggest hurdle for me was, I wish I would have known, or I helped other people in their campaigns, but to go from step one to where I am now was a little struggle, but I overcame it. I just really kept in contact with the Registrar of Voters office, and I am very assertive in whenever I want something. So I really help. They're very helpful, and I learned a lot from them. But it would have been nice if I would have shadowed someone. So one day, if someone ever wants to run for something like Central Committee or any other campaign, I would like to help them and go from step one and know the terminology of how to apply.
Perfect. And just to kind of follow up on that, is that, one piece of advice you would give is if you if you look back, like something you wish you had known, would you have wanted someone to, kind of support you and kind of hold your hand a little bit? Or is there something else you wish you would have known before you decided to step up to run for Central Committee?
For me, I think for me, just I guess learning by watching someone else go through it is my learning technique rather than just reading about it, because I could walk with someone and see what they do and learn from their experiences. I'm currently the chairwoman for the Veterans Advisory Commission, and I felt comfortable jumping into that position because I was vice chair of another commission. So I knew how to run a meeting and follow the agenda.
Perfect. And the Veterans Commission, is that, boards and commissions for which city?
The city of Chula Vista. I was just recently appointed to chairwoman.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So for the San Diego County Republican Central Committee, when you look at the body and all the different members, in your personal opinion, what do you think are some non-negotiable skills that you think yourself, along with other colleagues of yours who will get elected to Central Committee, that you hope that you all can embody?
I hope everybody learns to develop stronger communication skills. There's always going to be conflicts and personality problems, but the way I resolve it is by, I guess I'm more black and white. I also sit on the Bonita Museum, and whenever we have conflict, I always refer to the bylaws. This is what the bylaws say, and this is what we're going to do. If we don't like how things are run, we're going to have to go back to the bylaws, change it. So that there's no emotionals. We can't get too emotional if this is the rules. So I always come to meetings well in advance and well prepared, because I know my bylaws and I know the facts. And so that's how I, just say this is what the bylaw says.
Perfect. No, I appreciate people that have structure, and I think that's one skill that us women are really strong at is delegation, is organization, wearing multiple hats and doing so much and still managing to be successful despite all that. So it sounded like, just getting to know you a little bit more, public service and helping others has always been a part of your life with everything that you've done. But I know for myself, I didn't recognize that those things are connected in the government and political space, and sometimes you realize you're political even when you don't think you are. Um, at what point did you realize that public service was going to remain to be an element in your path in your career? Like, did you think you were going to go into this path at all? Were there other paths that you considered?
Of course, I always thought I'd end up being a CEO of a major computer company, but that changed, and I've never regretted it. But I think it's really important. I think civic duty is important for all of us. And when you're angry about what things are happening in the world or at your school or in your city, there is something you can do besides voting. You can get involved and learn and do a little bit more critical thinking and not just learn or just see what you see on TV and make your decisions. So I always like to weigh things back and forth. But because I know a lot of people don't have time to do that, I may not understand, I want to be that voice and explain that to them. And I think being involved with a lot of organizations, I have gained the trust of many people. So when they ask me, what is this issue or who should I vote for? It's a great responsibility that I take seriously.
Perfect. So at CWLA, sorry, we are personally working to develop a network of support for women leaders. So along this journey that you undertook in the government political space, was there any women that helped you along in your journey? Did they become mentors? Do you still keep in touch with them? We'd love to be able to learn more about that.
When I sat on the well, I'm not going to say the organization, but when I sat on that organization for 10 years, one of the chairwoman was a woman, and I was so amazed at her. She could really just really be direct, but be professional, and yet still stay feminine. And I thought that she didn't have to scream or get angry or jump up and down, and I really liked that. I admired her for doing that. And for me, I think I could be persuasive by using those kind of techniques, by being calm and look at me as a person, not as a woman, not as an Asian, not as someone under 80. A lot of the boards are a lot more mature, and I still respect them, but I do have a voice.
Perfect. So, as I'm sure you are aware, like as a woman navigating the political and government space, there are some unique challenges that we face when we decide to enter into this arena. What do you think are challenges, like specific challenges that you've observed or maybe you've undergone, like as a woman who identifies as center right when they're seeking to become leaders, especially in today's environment?
I think it's a balance act when you have to learn to. For me, fortunately, my husband and I decided I should quit the industry. But if they were to go into the government, you have to have that balance act with your children and have that good family support. But I think that's the most important. If you have that support from your family, it goes really well. But I guess I don't look at people like that with just I'm a woman. I think of people as you're very qualified. You know what you're doing. When I was a programmer, I was always the only woman programmer there, but I never took advantage of that. And my boss, everyone was surprised I did really well, but I was just so surprised that why do you think I wouldn't? So I think that can relate to government, whatever position I have, and I will take being on the central committee really seriously. I'm doing this and I'm going to use it as my advantage as being that woman and get into different fields and different areas in the community.
Perfect. And my last question for you today is if you could give one piece of advice generally to women who are looking to put themselves out there to be the leaders they want to see in their community, what would that be?
Oh, definitely seek role models. Seek someone and trust that you trust. seek them and ask them for wise decisions, and use your critical thinking, but seek those women. They're all out there. I'll be there for anyone that wants my help too.
Well, thank you, Nimpa, for your time and, just sharing some piece of advice and wisdom for women in the center right space that are looking to be leaders in the political and government space. If people would like to support you and learn more about your campaign for Central Committee, how can they do that?
They can just email me, nimpa4centcom@gmail.com.
Perfect. And thank you all for tuning in and watching Hold My Coffee. I've got an election to win. Today is Saturday, February 3rd. So you'll be receiving your ballots if you are a registered voter in the state of California. So just make sure that you submit your ballot and, vote. The primary election is going to be Tuesday, March 5th. If you want to support California Women's Leadership Association, be sure to look up CWLA on our website and also our social media. But thank you, everyone, and have a
Thank you,
great day.
Cynthia. Bye.